Ronja Schlumberger, and
I'm Fred, and I work at Vital Seeds here, and we're based in Devon, South Devon, on a farm called Ballyford Farm. We rent about an acre of land here to grow organic seeds, mainly vegetables, but also lots of cut flowers and herbs as well. And we sell many to home gardeners in small packets from our online shop. And all of our seeds are open pollinated, which means that all of our customers can save their own seeds from them if they want to, and kind of slowly adapt the varieties to their own kind of climatic conditions as they need to.
I think it's really useful having like the responsibilities shared. So if I say I'm away for a bit, Fred can just jump in and take over and knows exactly what to do, rather than me having then to explain. Probably we could be faster if we sort of like separated the roles out really clearly, but in decision making. But it's actually nice to be part of it.
Yeah, it also really helps with just like both of us understanding what's happening in the business, because if Ronja was just doing the field and none of the kind of office admin stuff, and I was doing just that and none of the field, then actually, you know, those are two like very important parts. They are the two parts of our business. So to not feel connected to one or the other you would just feel not connected to the business at all, really. So we met at a place called Embercombe, which is a kind of intentional community down the road near Exeter. I was there managing the gardens, and Ronja was there as a volunteer, and we became friends. And and we got on really well. We really enjoyed working together. When I wanted to start this up, I thought Ronja would be, a brilliant person to work with. And I reached out, and
I was well up for it. Because seeds is like so fascinating, and it just like ties in plants and soil and like working with varieties and working with vegetables and flowers and all sorts of things. And just like running a business, I think, is like a really nice challenge.
Firstly, when I was doing my studies, learning about, from a kind of academic point of view, the global food system and the seed system, and getting an understanding of actually how far removed that is from what I would want it to look like. You know, the seed system is controlled by vast transnational corporations with very little care for people or the planet or anything like that. So then that, and then also kind of realizing that there are very few companies in the UK who actually produce their own seed. There's only, there's a small handful, less than 5, I would say. And what a massive, what's the word, deficit or shame that was, really. So it just really felt like there was potential there, and it was a need, and kind of that was it, really. I mean, we buy in some stuff as well, which is we sell about between 50 and 60% of our stuff is produced by us and our growers, and then the rest of it we buy in from other wholesalers. And that's a lot more difficult now for us. In a way, it's been I don't want to say Brexit's been a blessing, because it definitely hasn't been. But the silver lining to the cloud of Brexit for us is that it's really given us the motivation to up our production massively. So when we first started up, we thought, if we could produce 30% of our own seed, that would be a real triumph, because even that, compared to most seed companies in the UK, is a huge amount. So then with Brexit and how difficult it was to import stuff, and it still is now, it's just a great incentive for us to be like, okay, well, actually, let's do it. Let's just see how far we can go with it, which is great. And I'm glad for that. I don't enjoy Brexit, and we're still having to try and import stuff. Right now, we have a package that's sat around in customs, and I don't know what the hell's going on with it. And they threatened to destroy a load of stuff last week without any real explanation, and it's not fun.
I think it would be great if we could grow everything that we sell.
There are some things that are always going to be really difficult. Like basil seems like a difficult one. Sweet corn, statice, the dried flower. Some things need a very, very long season, and in the UK, realistically, we don't have a very long season. Butternut squash is another one. Yeah. But there are areas with longer seasons, and you can use season extension methods like tunnels and stuff like that.
Yeah, and maybe it's also an opportunity to sort of like actually breed those varieties into a way that they actually do produce seed in this short season, basically.
I think
that's a long-term sort of like goal, obviously, but
from a seed sovereignty perspective, I always think it's good to not be too kind of insular about it. I mean, because it's like the Brexit thing. It's like, I don't just think it's English seeds for English people. That's not how seed sovereignty should work. Seed sovereignty is a global movement about free access to seeds and to germplasm and everyone being able to share and do that kind of stuff. And I don't think it should be constricted by borders as such. Of course, it's great to produce our own seed and it creates resilience and also adaptation of varieties. But yeah, I think wanting to see it from an open point of view rather than anything that's not produced on this island is awful, because there's so many amazing people producing seed all over the world and doing amazing breeding work and all that kind of stuff, and we want to be part of that, not separate to that.
F1 hybrids have their place in the commercial vegetable scale, but what we stand for is open pollinated seeds, because they are free to use and people can save their own seeds at home.
Yeah, I'd say on the reliability thing, like the seeds themselves are just as reliable. You get 100% germination. The seed is no worse quality. It's like when you said, the uniformity of the crop. But for gardeners, they don't want all of their cauliflowers ready on the same day. They want them spread out over a bit. And I think tools are I think hybrids are like tools, like any other tool. They can be used for good, they can be used for bad. As just a thing in themselves, they're not like inherently bad. But what they do is they create a kind of a barrier to free sharing of resources. Basically, it means that people can't save their own seed from them. But as an invention, they're not an inherently evil thing.
Yeah, we love our customers saving their own seeds. I think that's like such a just important part of the whole story around seed, that actually people grow vegetables and take the leap to see them through their whole life cycle and make seed to then be used again. I think that's such a special part of what we do that we actually want other people to find out about as well.
Yeah, so we have loads of resources on our website, lots of free resources about how to save seed, loads of kind of little how-tos and that kind of thing. We also have an online seed saving course, which is, I think it takes about 4 or 5 hours to complete. And yeah, I don't know how many people have been through it, but lots and lots of people, and people say it's brilliant. I keep meeting people randomly and they're like, oh, I've seen you from the seed saving course. It was really good. It's been really nice to just and have a chat with them and find out how much they got out of it. And I think it's really helped people build their confidence and actually, because saving seed is not difficult. There's just the things that you have to do, and if you don't know the things you have to do, then it might not work. But if it's not a complicated thing to do, is it? You follow the rules and then you get your good seeds at the end, and it's really fun. It's incredibly satisfying. I mean, that's why we love it. Especially on this scale, it's so satisfying, like producing seeds. It just feels like magic in a way.
Yeah, producing seeds to then sow them again and see them again as the vegetable in the next generation, or flower, whatever it is.
To grow a seed crop, in terms of how different it is to a vegetable crop, really just depends on the crop. Some are identical. Growing tomato seeds is literally exactly the same as you would grow tomatoes. You just process the tomatoes after they're ripe. So that's identical. Growing something like a leek seed is quite different and can be quite challenging. They have a very long season. So you sow your leeks, we sow our leeks in March, early April maybe, and then they're still not harvested now, and we're now in autumn the following year. So there's a lot of opportunity for things to go wrong, and things do go wrong in that time. So it really depends on the crop. Some things are really easy: peas, French beans, tomatoes, absolutely just the same as you would for growing vegetables. And then other things are a bit more complicated. Yeah, so it really depends. And the trick is to start with the easy stuff, because that's an easy win and it's fun, it's satisfying. And then you get the bug, and then you think, oh, next year I'm going to try something a little bit more complicated. Maybe you wouldn't go for a leek, because we struggle with leeks. They're really difficult in our climate. But maybe something like a lettuce would be another good one too, because that's an annual crop. Yeah, so I think it's about setting yourself up to succeed, basically starting with the easy ones, and then going to the more challenging ones, and then you just incrementally increase your knowledge in a way which doesn't feel overwhelming.
Yeah, and I think to grow seed, you have to, grow the vegetable first.
Because you want to make sure that you're making the best seeds for the next generation. So you've really got to think it's the long game saving seed. It's not about instant gratification. But by not eating that beetroot or those, your 10 best beetroots from the season, by not eating them and letting them produce seed for the following year, that means that your next crop of beetroots from those seeds, maybe they would all be like those amazing ones that you didn't eat the first year. So it's about having that self-restraint to not eat those. But maybe you've got enough good ones that you can eat some of them, and then you've just got to make sure that maybe the very best ones you don't. And then I think you can feel good about that. You're not eating them, but you know in your heart that you've made the right choice, and that you've made the right choice for your future self. So that's really what it's about.
We've been branching out into cut flowers because it's actually really fun to grow them. It's really nice to have them around, and also there is actually quite a demand for organic cut flower seed at the moment in the UK. Is something that people want, and there's like business growing British flowers, so yeah, it's something that is just sort of developed over time.
Yeah, so I think Ronja's point about that we enjoy growing cut flowers is really important to anyone who's producing seed or gardening full stop. We grow the stuff that we enjoy growing, and that means that we give it the love and the attention it needs because we enjoy going and checking in on it and seeing how it's growing and that kind of thing. We don't grow stuff that we don't enjoy growing, and I think that's really just maybe it's obvious, but I think actually it's quite an important thing, especially with saving seed, because it's because it takes that much more attention to detail. You've got to be really just into it at all the different stages.
Yeah, I think when we let things go to flower, it will naturally attract lots of different insects that will then pollinate those flowers to make seed. So I think we get a lot of different flies and a lot of bees around, and a lot of different insects come into our patch to have a feast. It can be, we do obviously need to make sure that they then don't go and cross-pollinate the variety or different varieties of the same species. So we do have some sort of like measures in place, mesh sides on our polytunnel to stop them from doing that. But yeah, I think pollinators is a really interesting one, and it would be really cool to know more. We do actually buy in bumblebees and also blue bottle flies to do some of the pollination for us in like pollination cages or in enclosed spaces, when we sort of like not letting everyone just do what they want.
I think our place is in creating a food system, or being part of creating a food system that we can feel proud of, that we feel that we want to hand on to our children and our grandchildren, and having a thriving organic food system, and seed is a part of that, feels so important. And yeah, there are these spaces and people producing seed, preferably all over the country, and selling into local markets as well as more regional and national markets. Yeah, I think the thought of my children growing up in a world where there was no organic seed, I can't really imagine that. That would feel sad. And yeah, I hope that we can encourage other people to save their own seed, and even in small ways, and just to keep that tradition going, because it has been quite lost from the kind of the culture of food growing and allotmenteering. So if I had to choose three, it'd be padron. I think it's a bit boring, but I would choose cavolo nero, kale. I could eat that pretty much. I almost do eat that pretty much every meal. It's a really, it's got a strong flavour. It cooks really well. It kind of keeps its shape when you cook it, and it's really good. My only thing about that is that it kind of it's the first one to flower after the new year. So by the end of January, often it's flowering, and then you've got to wait until the next crop. And I think my third one would probably be cherry tomato, like a mango lassi cherry tomato that we stock, which is actually a dehybridized version of a popular F1 hybrid cherry. Really good, nice size. You can just gobble them straight off the plant. They go great in pasta. One of my standard dishes is a kind of a kale tomato pasta with those tomatoes and the cavolo nero, and I just love it every time I make it. It's delicious. And
I was also actually going to say mango lassi, so I'm going to do that. Mango lassi tomato is just really good. It's like tangy and sweet, and pop it straight in the mouth, and it's just really good. The other one I would say is flaming barrel beetroot. I'm really into beetroot, and this one is an orange beetroot that's sort of like got really beautiful insides and like orange, yellow. Yeah, it's a really good one. Roasted, particularly, or just raw, grated. Really nice. And my third, I think I'm gonna have to go for a lettuce. Lettuce, Maureen probably is like a really standard one, but just crunchy and sweet and nice. Yeah, that's my three.